In this lesson, we will install Spring Boot CLI. CLI stands for Command Line Interface. Spring Boot CLI allows us to quickly prototype Spring applications using automatic configuration and project starters. Along with these features, Spring Boot CLI also allows us to use Groovy scripts, which can cut out all of the boilerplate code within our Spring applications. To get started with our installation, I'm simply going to Google for Spring Boot CLI, and this will bring up the documentation for Spring Boot. Inside the documentation, you'll notice this hyperlink for the Spring Boot CLI, and that's going to take us to that section of the documentation. Under the manual installation section, you're going to see a link for the zip distribution of Spring Boot CLI. And all you need to do is click on that zip, and it will prompt you to download it. So I'm going to go ahead and I will save the Spring Boot CLI zip distribution. And then once it is done downloading, I'm going to navigate to my desktop where I have stored the software. At this point, we simply extract the software to our desktop, and now we need to put the software onto our path. So I'm going to open up a command line. From within the command line, I can view all of the directories on my desktop, and then I'm going to change directories to the newly created Spring Boot CLI directory. And from within this directory, I'm going to change directories to the spring-1.3.3.release directory. And if we look inside this directory, we'll further see the bin directory that I'll navigate to. Now, inside the bin directory, I'm going to go ahead and add this directory to my path using the setx command. So I can say setx path, and then I can specify the current directory, and it will go ahead and be added to my path. With Spring Boot CLI on my path, I can now execute Spring Boot CLI commands, and to do that I simply type spring, and then I need to specify some command that I would like Spring Boot to execute. So there we see we just got the version for Spring Boot CLI, and we see our version is 1.3.3.release. We'll see a little bit more about how to use Spring Boot CLI in later lessons.